Welcome to R&R Living Life. In this episode, Rick and I leave Cowra and make our way towards Canberra, where we camp for a couple of days before continuing on to Jindabyne. As usual, we are interested in seeing what the country is like and what is left of many of the small rural towns that were the backbone of the areas after early European settlement. Burowa was the first charming country town we encountered, settled as early as 1827, known as a district of successful Irish landowners and strong pastoral traditions. Burowa is famous for its merino wool, celebrated each year at the lively Irish Woolfest, and its colourful superb parrot, the unofficial mascot of the town. It is said that Burowa is possibly the most overtly Catholic town in Australia, with its handsome St Patrick's Catholic Church, completed in 1875, the first Roman Catholic church built west of the Great Dividing Range. The church features outstanding stained glass windows depicting the saints Patrick, Bridget and Columbia, which were imported from Ireland and installed in 1881. The church also has a high altar made from imported Italian marble. Rick and I wandered part of one of the 3 different shamrock trails along pretty tree-lined streets, admiring some of the buildings, sadly many of them empty. After spending time wandering Burowa, we continued along Lachlan Valley Way, through many different types of farming, with various watercourses and vegetation, before joining the Yass Valley Way. The Yass Valley is located in the southern tablelands of New South Wales, a regional area boasting a proud Aboriginal, strong colonial and innovative agricultural history. The region is focused on regenerative agriculture with conservation and a rehabilitation approach to help combat climate change. European settlement dates from the 1820s, following exploration by human Hobble and Throsby Wild. Land throughout the Yass Valley was settled relatively early due to its location on the road to Port Phillip, or Melbourne as it is now known, as well as the quality of rural land. The early fortunes of the Yass Valley were influenced by the success of agriculture, notably the fine wool industry, and the main Southern Railway line constructed in 1876, as well as the Hume Highway passing through. Land was used mainly for sheep grazing, with the village of Yass established on the southern bank of the Yass River in 1830s. The Yass Valley was literally born off the sheep's back, and while agriculture has been the backbone of the community, it is said that new and innovative businesses are starting up and being recognised nationally and internationally. Historically, Yass has been an important rural service centre on the Yass River, a tributary of the Murrumbidgee, a town in the heart of one of the country's prime sheep-growing areas. In 1821, Hamilton Hume was the first non-Indigenous person to see the Yass Plains. Today, Hume's name is synonymous throughout Australia as one of our country's most well-known colonial explorers. No longer a stop on the Hume Highway, it was bypassed in 1994. It is still a very interesting town to visit. This rather quiet town, with a collection of striking historic buildings along the broad main street, reflected the once very prosperous early years of European settlement. From Yass we resumed our travels along the Barton Highway, named in honour of Sir Edmund Barton, the first Prime Minister of Australia. The highway is a significant road that serves as a major transport link between New South Wales and the ACT. It is part of the route connecting Canberra to Yass and the Hume Highway, ultimately linking Melbourne to Canberra. We crossed the Yass River, a perennial river that is part of the Murrumbidgee catchment within the Murray-Darling Basin, approximately 140 kilometres in length. The river rises in the rugged country southwest of Bungendore and flows generally north-northwest and southwest, joined by 7 minor tributaries towards its confluence with the Murrumbidgee River, before being impounded in Lake Burrinjuck west of Yass. Not quite 25 kilometres from Yass was Murrumbateman, a former gold mining town, with gold discovered in the area east of the town in the 1850s. The town has a few shops, a hotel, and a historic school built in 1872 that is now used as the local historical society. In the early years of settlement, settlers who followed the explorers Hume in 1821 and then Hovell in 1824 bought flocks of sheep and sought good grazing land. The town is now surrounded by rolling, not so green vineyards, with the region said to be home to 20 world-class boutique wineries. There are so many things to do in Canberra, with our first stop at the Australian War Memorial, where Rick and I spent the afternoon contemplating and reflecting on Australia's involvement in wars around the world. There were many excellent displays and the impressive pool of reflection with its roll of honour which lists 102,000 Australians who have died at war. There are fascinating displays of memorabilia, paintings and models, and our afternoon visit was not nearly long enough to see all that was on offer, so focused on the First and Second World Wars. Below the War Memorial we could see down Anzac Parade that stretches to the waters of Lake Burley-Griffin, with 13 memorials along the 2.5 kilometre length, and is aligned so that we could see across the lake to Parliament House. Lake Burley-Griffin, completed in 1963 when the Molongo River slowly filled the lake, was named after the city's planner and lies at the heart of Canberra and is surrounded by important public buildings. The following day we visited the National Arboretum, with over 44,000 trees from around the world, home to 94 forests. Prior to 2001, the Arboretum site was largely covered in pine plantations. Following the devastating bushfires in 2003, which burnt a significant area of the ACT, including residential areas and the pine plantations, the Australian Capital Territory Government, with consultation with the community and experts, determined that the establishment of a national arboretum was the best future use of the land on this site. The outcome was a design that proposed 100 forests and 100 gardens, focusing on threatened, rare and symbolic trees from around the world, with construction beginning in 2005 and continuing to be planted today. The site was officially opened in February 2013. The Arboretum is a botanical garden devoted to growing trees for conservation, scientific research and educational purposes. The Arboretum spans over 250 hectares, includes the largest living collection of cultivated Wollemi pines in the world, and is the only monocultural arboretum of its size in the world. Rick and I walked to the top of Dairy Farmers Hill, where we found artwork depicting an eagle on a nest, the armillary sphere sundial, and an Apollon pine propagated from seed of the lone pine tree planted at the Australian War Memorial. We also had stunning, breathtaking 360-degree views over the Arboretum, the award-winning Margaret Whitlam Pavilion and the popular village centre and Canberra. From the top we could see across to the 35-metre-long wide brown land sculpture, a line from Dorothy McKellar's poem My Country in her original handwriting, before making our way back down to enjoy the National Bonsai and Penjing collection, consisting of 120 exhibits of approximately 75 trees that were on display, highlighting a variety of traditional and modern styles using Australian native species. Bonsai and Penjing grew out of the cultures of China and Japan, with an important philosophical principle being reverence for old age and respect for individuals who have survived life's difficulties with humility and dignity. The designs reflect trees or landscapes in nature, creating a sense of calm and peacefulness, and to broaden the viewer's cultural understanding. The art of growing miniature trees in pots in Japan can be traced back to the 6th century AD, while Penjing means pot scenery in Chinese and can be traced back to the Qing dynasty around 221 BC to 220 AD, the first dynasty of imperial China. Wow, what intricate displays! They were absolutely amazing. From the Arboretum we made our way to Black Mountain that stands above the city to check out the Telstra Tower. The tower can be seen from most parts of the Canberra and was opened in 1980 to house Canberra's radio and television facilities. Unfortunately, it is currently closed to the public, and the 195-metre tall telecommunications tower is in a very sad state. From Black Mountain we continued exploring Canberra. First we drove past the Royal Military College, primarily known as Duntroon, Australia's officer training establishment for the Australian Army, located on the Duntroon Estate, situated at the foot of Mount Pleasant near Lake Burley Griffin, and on the Campbell family homestead. The name Duntroon refers to the Campbell family ancestral home, Duntroon Castle, in Scotland. The college was one of the first Commonwealth facilities established in the newly created capital, with the first intake of cadets in 1911. The Australian government first rented the Duntroon homestead for 2 years from November 1910 to July 1912, and later acquired freehold to the estate with 150 hectares after the creation of the federal capital. We also passed Dinosaur World, Australia's largest permanent display of prehistoric specimens, established in 1993. The museum is believed to house the biggest fossil display in the Southern Hemisphere. We had visited the Eromanga Natural History Museum with its many fossilised dinosaur bones in southwest Queensland. One museum not to be missed if you ever have a chance to visit. So we did not venture into Dinosaur World. That afternoon we walked around the exhibition park, a multi-purpose events facility. Rick and I were interested in seeing the size of the grounds and facilities and wondered how different the show would be to the Royal Easter Show in Sydney. The following day we left Canberra and made our way towards Tuggeranong, located on the southwestern side of Lake Tuggeranong, created by construction of a dam in 1987, resulted in an artificial lake sourced by the confluence of the Tuggeranong Creek and stormwater discharge from urban and rural areas, and on past Royala Solar Farm, opened in 2014. At the time, it was the largest solar farm in Australia, featuring 83,000 solar arrays. We travelled through the Monaro region, where the snow peaks meet the open treeless plains, though not really plains, but the bottom of the broad eroded valleys and tablelands of the area. The natural phenomenon is caused by the combination of heavy basalt soil, low rainfall and cold air drainage. The name Monaro originally referred to the rolling grassland plateau that stretches south from Cooma towards the border with Victoria, bordered by the snowy mountains in the west and the steep escarpments dropping to the coast in the east. However, in more recent times the name Monaro has been used for a much larger region, stretching to Canberra in the north and the towns west of the snowy mountains. The regions include high mountain ranges, steep forested valleys and open savanna-like parkland, as well as the treeless plains of the Monaro. There are hundreds of kilometres of rivers and streams, ranging from high mountain torrents to quiet lowland rivers. There are large tailwater rivers below dams, some unspoiled mountain rivers in steep bush-clad valleys, smaller rivers and streams, and lakes from wide expanses of water to small pools. We continued on through Mikkalo, situated in a valley between two mountain ranges, the Tinderi Range to the east and the Clear Range to the west, and was one of the first places to be settled along the Monaro Highway. The Murrumbidgee River separates the village from the Clear Range, with Mikkalo Creek passing through the town. From the highway we could see St Patrick's Catholic Church, built mid-1860s. The town itself is located off the road, complete with a pub, general store and many beautiful old homes. Curry and Ovens explored the Mikkalo region in 1823, and the first settlement proceeded soon after, involving the ex-convict couple Emmanuel and Catherine Elliott. Nestled between the picturesque Tinderi Mountains and the Monaro grasslands, the quaint rural village of Brebo was established in 1888. Gold was also discovered in the area in the late 1800s. However, today it is home to a number of historic buildings, including the Brebo Inn, which was the original stagecoach stop on the way to the south coast or Snowy Mountains from Canberra, and a stop for railway travellers. Further on was the Numberella River, a perennial river that is part of the Murrumbidgee catchment within the Murray-Darling Basin, with a diverse ecosystem rich with many different animal species and native freshwater fish fauna. Alluvial gold was discovered in and along the river in 1858, with the diggings worked until 1868. We were in for a surprise as we continued along the road from Coomera to Jindabyne, with its impressive and unusual granite boulder outcrops. The geology of these unique and impressive outcrops is that they crystallised as a large mass from magma some kilometres below the Earth's surface, and the granite formed around 400 million years ago. Over millions of years the granite was eroded and uplifted, and it became exposed at the surface. There were so many outcrops that in the end I gave up trying to capture them. We made our way into Coomera, the largest town in the Snowy Mountains, the historic centre of the Snowy Mountain scheme and the gateway to the Kosciuszko National Park. In recent times, tourism and the snowfields have ensured that it is more than just a rural service centre. Centennial Park, located on the Monaro Highway in the centre of town, was once a swamp that became a football field in the 1890s and had trenches dug in it during World War II in anticipation of an imminent Japanese invasion. It really was a picturesque journey through the winding hills and open plains before reaching Jindabyne, a popular alpine town that sits on the shores of the picturesque Lake Jindabyne at the edge of the Snowy Mountains, where we made camp. We will leave you for this episode as we make ready for our next day's adventure. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Give us a thumbs up if you have. Join us next time as we climb to the top of Australia, Mount Kosciuszko, and take in the stunning views, and then make our way to Tarcutta. Rick and I appreciate those who have taken the time to leave a comment. Thank you. Stay safe and enjoy life. Cheers for now. Rick and Rosemary. R&R, living life.